Hi there, it's Rios from Cut Academy, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to get started in Adobe Premiere Pro. This is a great tutorial for all you beginners out there who have always wanted to get started editing, or anyone who just wants to brush up their skills. So let's jump straight into it. The first thing we're going to do is import our footage into Premiere. So let's head over to the Finder. I've just got these two folders here. As you can see, one's active, one's archive. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this right now, as I'm going to make another video on how I structure my projects. Let's head into this folder. In here, I've just got a folder with some footage that I'm going to import. So let's just rename this folder Premiere Pro Basics, and then I'm going to put the date after it just so it's even easier to find if I'm ever looking for it. So today's date is the 19th, so the 19th of the 5th, 2020. Now what you'll find is if you hit Command Space and you type in 19/05/2020, our project's going to come up in our Finder results, and it's going to be much easier to find like this, which is why I often tag the date at the end of my project titles. Inside this folder, we've got a folder called footage, and we've just got a few clips that we want to bring into Premiere here. So let's keep this to the side, and now let's open Premiere Pro. I'm going to just click Premiere Pro once and it should open. Cool. So once Premiere Pro opens, we're going to be welcomed with this screen here. Ignore all of this. The first thing we're going to do is click New Project over here. Now it's asking us to name our project. I'm going to name it the same thing that I named my folder. So Premiere Pro Basics 19/05/2020. Now location, when I first started making projects, I never bothered really checking where I was saving them, but this actually turned out to be quite a big disaster for some projects, especially when I needed to find different versions of the files that I had and stuff like that. I would really recommend you save your Premiere project in the same place that you're working from with your footage. Now, whether that's your desktop or a hard drive, in my case, I typically use hard drives because I run out of space on my computer really quickly, and that can be quite an issue. So I use hard drives to store all my files. If you don't have a hard drive, don't worry, you can use the desktop. Anything's going to be fine for this. But I'm going to go into this folder, and I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call it Prem Pro. You can call it editing, you can call it whatever's easy for you, but you want to have a separate folder for your editing files. We're going to choose that folder. Now another thing to check is to go over to your Scratch Disks tab. Your Scratch Disks is basically where all your temporary files from your project are going to be saved, and different things that Premiere needs for the project to access are going to be saved. Now you want to just make sure that all of these are in the same as your project, so they're all grouped together in one place and you're not going to have any issues further down the line. We can ignore ingest settings for now, go back to general. All of this looks good, so let's head over and click OK. Okay, so as you can see, Premiere Pro has opened a new project for us, and we're greeted by these four windows. Now the first thing I want you to do is head over to Window, Workspaces, and Reset to Save Layout. This is just going to make sure we're all working on the same kind of layout, and this is going to reset it to the default that Premiere Pro likes to organize these different windows. Now as you can see, it says import media to start in this bottom left window, which is actually our media browser. I'm going to double click here, and it's going to open up this window which is going to allow us to import our footage. I'm going to go back to this folder here entitled footage, and I'm going to click import, and it's going to import all the files. Okay, and as you can see, because I imported it from the folder, I didn't just import the files themselves. We've actually got a folder in our bin now, and that's going to have all of our footage within it. Now there's a few different ways you can arrange this this media browser down here in the left. You can either have it in list view, which is this view here with the little icons, or you can have it in icon view. I like to keep it in icon view because this gives us a visual representation of all of our clips, and it even allows you to scrub through the clips as well and just get a basic overview of what is contained within them. Now let's create a new sequence from one of these clips. Okay, so say I'm certain that I want to use this first clip that I have here. I'm going to drag this clip down and hover it over this icon here with the post-it note peeling in the corner. And when I'm ready to, I'm just going to let go of the mouse click, and it's going to create a new sequence from that clip. As you can see in our media browser, we're going to get this new icon here, and it's going to have this little blue tab in the bottom right, which indicates that it's a sequence and not a video clip. So as you can see, we still have our original video clip here. We've got these two icons to tell us it's been used in a sequence, but we've also got this new sequence clip here. So what I like to do is rename this either main sequence or just sequence, just so that I know what it is and I don't get it confused with the clip, and I know where to find the project I'm working on here. Once we do that, you're going to notice that it retitles it here. So in the timeline, we are now working on this main sequence. So as you can see, by clicking the playhead and dragging, I can scrub through this clip. Alternatively, I can just hit the spacebar and that's going to play the clip itself. Cool. I want to start my clip here where my friend literally just enters the frame. So let's scrub to that exact frame, and I want to get one frame before he enters. So I can use the arrow keys. I'm going to use the left arrow key to scrub back one frame, and here you go. We've got a complete empty frame. Now, how I can cut this is I can go to the front of the clip here, and if I hover my mouse over it, you can see it automatically changes into this red bracket icon. Now that's because in Premiere we're working with something called contextual tools, which means that they automatically change the tool to the tool that's most likely to be required based on where you are in your timeline. So here it's detecting that I'm probably going to want to trim this clip because I'm right at the start of it, so it's going to change it to the selection tool automatically. Now if we want to access this selection tool without it automatically changing to it, we can just press the V button, and that's also going to ensure the selection tool is checked here, which is here. Okay, so now let's trim this down, and all I'm going to do is hold down the left click and drag this clip here to the playhead, and as you can see, we've gotten rid of this intro roll for the clip here. Now what we can do is, to get rid of this gap on the left side, we can click on this empty space and we can either right click and press ripple delete, or we can literally just click it and press the backspace key, and that's going to get rid of that open gap there. And now as you can see, the clip starts as my friend walks into the frame, and I want it to cut about here. Now this time, instead of using the automatic selection tool to cut this down here, what I'm going to do is show you how to use the razor tool. So we can head over to the tool panel here and we can click on the razor tool, or we can simply use the keyboard shortcut C. I'm going to press C and that automatically selects our razor tool. Now I want to finish our clip here, so I'm going to hover over the playhead and I'm going to left click once, and as you can see, that's now split our two clips. What I can now do is select this excess material here and just press backspace, and that clip is now gone. Now what you need to bear in mind is, say if you ever want to get any of that information back from this footage, it's not a hard permanent change you've made. If we want to drag this back out, we can drag it back out. There's nothing stopping us. So let's say I just want to drag that back out a tiny bit. There we go. We've done that. We can also still access the original clip here and watch it in the source monitor, and let's go to that now. So say I want to drag a specific piece of footage into my project, I can actually use the source monitor to find that piece and then take it from there into my project. So I want to take something from this next clip in my bin of a building, and I just want to jump into the middle of the clip and take a nice piece where the cloud's moving over. So I'm going to move to around here, and I'm just clicking and dragging here to move this playhead. I want to go to around here, and that's going to be my in point. To set this in point, I'm going to head down to my little options here, and I'm going to press mark in, or I can alternatively just press in on the keyboard, and that's set us an in point. And now as you can see, we've got no out point, so that's just selecting the whole timeline here in my source monitor. I'm going to finish the selection here. Let's finish the selection here before we see something enter frame over there. I want to finish the selection here, so I'm going to press O, or I could alternatively press mark out, and that's given us a selection here from our original clip. Now we can choose to either take both the video and the audio by clicking and dragging straight from the source monitor down into our sequence, and as you can see, we've got the clip here and we've got also the audio here. Alternatively, we can delete this and we can just drag the video or just the audio. Now you might notice that this footage on the right in our program monitor, this is the program monitor, this is the source monitor, it doesn't match the same crop that the image on our left has. You can see the image has been punched in. Now, let's see why this is happening. If we go to our top and we click sequence settings, first thing to bear in mind is when we created this sequence, we did it by just dragging this clip onto the little post-it icon here, and that automatically created a sequence based on the settings from this clip. So if not every piece of footage in the sequence matches the settings on this first clip, we're going to find that we might not have all of the information from the video fit in the frame. So let's just check what sequence settings we're currently working with by going to the top, pressing sequence and settings. This is a really easy way to just check what we're working with right now. As you can see, our editing mode is in custom. Let's leave that, that's fine. Our time base is in 23.976, which means that the first piece of footage that we made a sequence from was shot in 23.976 frames, or pretty much 24 frames. And the frame size is 1920 by 1080, implying that we shot this in 1080p HD and nothing more or less than that. That's all good, so let's press OK. Now if we right click on this clip and we press properties, it's going to tell us that our image size is actually 3840 pixels by 2160 pixels. This footage was actually shot in 4K, so it's not a 1080p file, which is why the border or the sequence for this project is currently at 1080p, and this video is larger than that, so it's therefore taking up more of the screen. Super easy trick to fix this. Right click on the video and press set to frame size. As you can see, it now looks identical to what we have in our source monitor, and we now have the same piece of footage, the same aspect ratio, the same crop and everything like that into our project. It looks pretty good. So let's just crop the end of this clip as well. I'm just going to press C to get our razor tool. I'm going to click and insert a cut here on the timeline. Then I'm going to press V to get the selection tool back, or I can just go over here and click on selection tool, click on this clip and press backspace to remove it. Something to bear in mind is you should always be working with your snap tool on if you want clips to automatically snap in place like they do when I'm editing. The last thing I want to show you is how to overlay video on top of audio you might want to have in the background. So I'm just going to press this arrow to return to the root folder. As you can see, we've got our footage here. I'm going to head over to the Finder. I'm going to make a new folder called audio in our project folder. And then I'm going to double click this. I'm going to head over to audio. Now I've got a few files that my brother has kindly put together for Cut Academy. I'm going to import the audio folder into Premiere. Now, as I showed you earlier, we can either double click to import here, or we can simply drag and drop from the Finder. Now this can get a little messier, so I would advise still keeping your parent folder here and dragging and dropping as so. Then you can see it's already organized into a bin called audio. If you're wondering how you can make more bins, you simply click on the create new bin icon, and then we get a new bin and we can rename it whatever we want. Let's just call it untitled for now. That's how you make bins. Let's head over to audio. Now I've got this audio track. If I hit play, we're just going to hear. So it's quite a simple little background beat, and I just want to have that play in the background of my footage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this audio wave icon here, and I'm going to drag and drop this into our sequence, but it has to be in the audio tracks, which are marked here with the A icons, and the video tracks are marked here with the V icons. Let's take this clip here and let's find the area we want. And we'll drag and drop the video only onto our sequence. Now the reason we're taking the video only is because if we take the whole thing, the audio is going to intersect into what we currently have here, and that's going to get rid of that audio. So we can either move this audio first, then we can drag and drop it like this, and that's on the assumption that you want the audio from both. In this case, I just want the audio from my soundtrack here. So I'm just going to take the video by pressing the video icon and dragging it, dropping it into the timeline. This is another 4K clip because as you can see, the scale is different to what we're seeing in the source monitor. So let's just right click and set that to the frame size. As you can see now, it looks the same. And then I'm going to just drag and drop my audio clip to the start of this clip here. And as you can see, the magnet tools made that pretty simple for us. And then as my friend walks in, the audio track begins to play. So we're therefore not limited to having just the audio from the video or no audio at all. We can also bring in our own soundtracks, our own audio to use behind the video. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. If you learned something, please drop a like below. This channel is all about helping you aspiring filmmakers and editors to level up your skill set, so subscribe for more content on video editing. If you're looking for an easy way to make your videos look more cinematic, you can go ahead and grab my free LUT pack. The details on the screen now, also in the description below. So go ahead and grab that today. This is Rios from Cut Academy, signing off.